with some of the greatest directors, Spike Lee, the Coen brothers. You've worked with Woody Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Have you...
I directed Woody Allen.
What is it like to direct Woody Allen? I mean, does he have an opinion about what you're doing?
In order for me to get Woody, that's a long story. Anyway, I had an idea for a movie. I told the guy who cuts my hair, who cuts Woody's hair.
This is Fading Gigolo.
Yeah, and then he told Woody, and Woody said, I think that's a great idea, and tell him to come.
You have the same barber, I hope.
Yeah,
This
we
guy
have
didn't
the
just
same
go
barber.
find Woody
Yes,
Allen
yes,
someplace.
That's right, and that's how
Okay.
it was all through our hair cutter, Anthony, who was also a character. And so when I talked to Woody and I told him, then he said, okay, you have to sit very close to him because he doesn't hear very well.
Okay.
And so you'd say blah, 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 then your character does this, and he would sit there and goes, funny. You'd say something else, he goes, it's not funny. Say another thing.
Does everything have to be funny, or is he really identifying?
Could be funny. No, it could be. So he said, you write it, and then I will help you edit it. So I sent him my first draft, and the email that he wrote back was like, he basically excoriated it. It was like, it was fatal, it was death, it was this, it was that. It was like this long. And then he said, but there's something in it at the end. He goes, but don't worry, just my opinion, So then I kept coming back to him with more drafts. And the Coen brothers kept telling me, well, you're crazy, I said, but I want him, so let me see if I can make him comfortable enough.
That said you were crazy to
keep revising it for
based
Woody,
on his notes.
On his notes, because
yeah.
they said, well, it's not bad what it is. But I said, yeah, but he doesn't like it that way. So eventually, going through many, many drafts, and he's merciless, as he loves to say, because I'm going to be merciless. He goes, because the press will be even more. He goes, and I was like, okay, Woody, So then once he approved the script and he signed a deal, he was very easy to direct. And he was a lot of fun to work with, actually. And, he's very musical, so he knows, and he was really easy. If he could be serious, and he was a really good, partner. But it was like 2 years we worked on it, and in the middle of it, I directed one of his plays. I directed these 3 one-acts on Broadway, one by Ethan Coen, and one by Woody, and one by Elaine May, and I survived. So, Woody I had auditions for the play once with him, and we were trying to find a guy to play the Jewish rabbi. And all these Jewish actors came in, and they were all terrific actors. And, Woody would sit there and watch them and write a note, shift the note over to me, and it would be like fatal, And I would push it back, death. Because he's a comedian, it's all, and he didn't like any of them.
He's a comedian, meaning like things are either good or bad.
Good or bad. So then he said to me, they're not real Jews. And I said, Woody, every guy who comes in is Jewish. I said, every single guy. I said, what are you talking about? I said, explain to me. Do you want shtetl Jew? Is that what you want, shtetl?
You want tevya.
So he goes, you know who we need? He goes, we need Baruch Lamet. So I go, I happen to know a lot about Yiddish theater. I don't know why, but I do. And I said, that's Sidney Lumet's father. I said, he died like 120 years ago. He goes, Morris Kanofsky. I said, dead. Lou Jacoby, dead. This guy, dead. Everybody was dead.
Eugene Trubnik.
Yeah. So I finally found one guy who had worked with him, Saul Frieda. May he rest in peace, Saul, because I worked with him. And he was 92. Now, 92 is hard to be on stage, okay? So I bring him in for an audition alone. I figured, let me just have him alone. And he's a terrific actor. Yeah. But his first line is like, I hear all of Israel wailing. I hear all of Israel wailing. And I said, okay, so maybe a little bit louder. So I bring him then the next day, and Woody's happy to see him because he was in some of his early films. And he goes, I hear all of Israel wailing, And all my producers were all older, and they were all deaf, all of them. They're all like, huh? This is true. And Woody's watching him like this, but with a smile on his face. So he's doing it with the shit, and he leans in my ear, and he goes, "Do you think he'll live?" It's a true story. So I'm like looking at the guy.
And he didn't mean it facetiously. He's like,
and he's
I
like in
him,
my
but...
ear, and I said, through the audition? He goes, he was like that. I said, let me give him a little adjustment. He goes, no. He goes, not too much. He goes, anyway, Saul didn't get the part, but I did put him in Fading Gigolo, and then we wound up casting, may he also rest in peace, Richard Libertini, who was Italian. And you know, and Woody would give him
the part was cast to a non-Jew.
To a non-Jew, an Italian, an Italian.
But
guy, yeah.
This Italian was a real Jew.
He was a real Jew. And you know, Richard was very eccentric actor and brilliant. But like Woody would get such a kick out of him, and then he would say, you know, I like to give him notes. And I would say, well, listen, you can give notes. I said, but then you have to leave because I have to repair the damage. I said, you know, that you're going to do to these people. And he told Richard one day, he said, you know, Richard, you got a good laugh there. He said, but you could get a bigger laugh if you just did a commercial delivery, like a commercial, like a FedEx.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, I don't know what that means, a commercial. He just wanted him to be straighter, you know, in his.
Yeah.
But Richard's humor was, you know, it came from strange places, and oh God, we just.
Have you ever done your Woody Allen for Woody Allen?
Oh no. Because no. But you know, when I had to show him my film, he said, "Do you want my criticism?" I was like, I said, yes, that's why I asked you to come to the screening. And he was like, well, you know I'm going to be merciless. He goes, I said, I know. Anyway, he was really surprised, and he really liked the film.